Okay, so first things first, we're going to go in and sketch up our bull real quick freehand. And then we're going to put some red paint, a little bit of black with red paint to get us a brick red color for our background. I'm going to go ahead and paint that in. Next, we're going to go ahead and put our first layer on our bull. So we're just going to use like a crimson red for that. And go ahead and lay in that first layer of the bull. No details needed for now. Next, we are going to paint around the bull. Use black paint, paint around to make it look like he is coming through the wall. The black around it is going to be like an impression of his body, so it goes along with the outline of his body basically. Next, we're going to add a little bit of detail to the bull. We're going to go around his head and even in his face with some different tones like shading, basically shading his face. So we're going to add a little bit of black to that red that we used. Here I touch up a little bit around the black outline. But yeah, go into his chest area and then around his head. So it makes his head look like it's standing up a little bit away from his body. And the top of his head I'm going to leave lighter than the bottom of the top of his, so like the bottom of his face is going to be a little bit darker. There I zoom out a little bit just to show you what it looks like from the other room. And then just keep going in and adding a little bit of detail at a time until you get the desired effect you're looking for. Those dark tones that I'm using, I'd use a little bit more black on the red as I go down through to the bottom of his body. We want the bottom of his body to be the darkest because it's supposed to be furthest away and not in the light at all. The top of his forehead is the lightest part, and the shoulder, the right shoulder of the bull, is the lightest part of the body. Next, I'm going in and I'm measuring down the wall about 5 inches apart from each other. I make marks because I'm going to run lines across it. I want the wall, the background, to look like brick wall. So I need to add lines across the whole wall. So right here, I'm just measuring the markings, and then I do a little mark there. And then I take the chalk. I would take my chalk tool and I run my string across and snap my string. This will leave a little blue chalk mark across the wall so that I can go in and basically just trace over it with my white paint. That way I know everything is level and I have some straight lines across the wall. It's basically, I would say, the easiest way to accomplish that. And that just continues on down the wall. I would say, have about 20 lines going down through. Some of the chalk lines didn't show up very well on the video, but they were there. They were there good enough for me to see them so that I could do the job. This was my first time using a chalk tool like that, but it did make the job a lot easier. Freehand, I usually can go in and eyeball certain things, but I don't think with something like that it's really possible. And here it's just showing me do the white outlines now, or the white lines now. This took some time and was a little boring to do, I guess you would say. It's pretty straightforward and pretty easy, but it's just that it takes time, and you have to take the time to do it as good as you can. The lines don't look that great. They're not perfect, but it gets the job done, and you notice that it's brick. It's a mural, so it's paint, and I don't think most people expect for things to look perfect when you're doing something like this. And there is the finished part of the brick. Me going back through the gym so that you can take a look from a distance. I like how it's all like framed out in that doorway. It looked really good. I went down through and I did the vertical white lines, which I didn't show on the video. I just eyeballed those and put them at a distance that I thought was right, and it seemed to work out. But, of course, you can measure them. That's going to make you feel more comfortable. Next, I had to go in and do the black cracks in the brick wall. So that's what I'm laying in now. Want to make it look like that brick is cracking in places, so it's falling apart. Now I'm going in with a second layer on the bull so that it has look a deeper red, basically, but it's the same color red, it's just a second layer and just makes it look better. So layers do matter. Now I'm going in with some darker blacks around the arm and stuff because there are areas that are going to be darker than other areas. It adds more detail to the piece. And makes it look more interesting. Put them really dark. Put it as dark as it can be, basically around the face there on that side, because that side's not going to get as much light. See right there, I'm lightening the face up on that side so that it's, because it is getting light. And then I'm going in with some darker areas at the bottom and on the other side. See how dark that is at the bottom there, because that part of his body's getting the least amount of light. And then that's what it looks like at that point. Now we need to go in and do some of the text at the top. We decided to put train hard in it. This is a mural for a gym, so people are in there working out, and we want to give them some motivation. So train hard seemed to work best. Then I just go around that white with some black outlines. And more than even outline, just black, looking like it's cracked around the words even. And then I'm just going to go in and do a little bit more detail to the bull. I add some black outlines in areas that I feel like need to be more defined. So I actually go around the outside of his body a little bit and into his arms and face. And then I do his eyes a little bit better. The eyes really weren't done before. I was just marking places where I thought the eyes should be. Now I actually go in and paint them. And then I do his chest muscles and his ab muscles. It's nothing too hard or special about that. Just some markings to make it look like that's what it is. I go ahead and sign the piece at this point. I'm not finished. I actually come back for a third day, but I wanted to go ahead and put the signature on it because I had my white ready to go. And then I painted some white around the insides of those bricks and stuff there that you can see. I didn't show that on the video, but yeah, I went ahead and did all that. And now I'm just fixing his arm slightly and putting some ears on him that I forgot to put on in the first place. And here is the name of the gym, Glen Oak Iron. I went ahead and made it a tattoo on his arm. The first time I did it too small, wiped that away. The second time it was much better. It was bigger, you could see it. You want it to be noticeable. It's a subtle thing anyway. And then you see that there's like little bricks around it that I started painting there. And now I'm painting right there, putting a little bit of white on them to cover it a little bit better. Those are the bricks that are looking like they're breaking away, like he's actually busting through the brick wall. I go over it with the white for one layer so that it's you're not seeing through it really. But then I go back over it with the red. And then I went through and did an outline around them too with the black. The red that I used was too light, so I ended up mixing it with some black and putting that over it by the end of it. And you notice that I left some white around them a little bit in one area or the other to make them look like that white part of the brick was busted away as well. And that's about it. That's about the whole mural. But the thing, then there was that last little bit. I put little pieces in there. It looked like the brick breaking away too. And then some little funny pictures I took with it. And then that's the finished piece. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found some value in the video. Please watch another one.